What's up everyone? About a week ago I made a video about Kitana and Ferra and people seemed to really enjoy it. So I decided to make up a full guide for them too. You guys showed a lot of love to my first ever MK1 video, so I'm gonna show some love back by making this full guide. This guide will include everything you need, from combos, wake ups, armor, everything you need to know about Ferra and Kitana will be in this guide. There will be timestamps for everything. I know some people just like to watch the combos, so you can just skip to that if you want. I also have a game that I played online just to showcase Kitana and Ferra, but with all this out of the way, let's get to the video. As you all know, Ferra has an overhead and a low, and that is so great for someone like Kitana because Kitana doesn't have any mix-ups in her kit. She has good mids, but she has no mix-ups. With Ferra now she has mix-ups. Like as you can see on the screen, I'm doing a low into a low into an overhead. And the best part about the low and the overhead, they are both safe on block. And at the same time they launch the opponent for a full combo. You can also go for the mid that is +2, but personally I recommend that you always use the overhead or the low. Just because they're both safe on block and they both can launch the opponent for a full combo. Like yes, if you want some pressure you can go for the mid and get it down one, but I feel like the overhead or the low is more worth it in my opinion. However, there's only one downside to using the overhead or the low or the mid in general. The opponent can armor through it. So make sure to always mix up your strings before you use them. If you keep using the same string and then use Ferra, the opponent will know that you're doing that the same thing and they will start armoring through it. So let's swap to Army Man and I'll show you what I mean. And I record Kitana doing this. Okay, now swap back. Okay, so I didn't know which arm move. Okay, it's back forward too. Alright, I'll show you now. So now I want to use fire with Kitana. As you can see, I could armor through it, and you could do that after every single string Kitana does before she summons Ferra. That's why I want you to keep mixing it up. Never do the same string all the time. For that reason. So always remember to mix it up. Also keep in mind that Kitana has a lot of gaps herself in her moves, so if the opponent is spamming armor, just bait it out and give them a full combo punish. If they're not spamming their armor, make sure to always mix up your strings. And this is why I said I always go for the overhead or the low, because if you happen to hit them, that's how much damage you get. This is using the full cameo bar by the way, 47%, that's insane. That's from both the overhead and the low by the way. Don't get me wrong, these combos are a bit tough to learn, but with enough practice you'll get the hang of it, and then you can do it easily. So don't let that intimidate you from doing them. Like this is a low into an overhead, so these are a bit tough to block, especially online. Now I want to talk about some strings that are a bit hard to connect. Like if you want to connect them to the overhead or the low. The 1-1 into an overhead or the low are, it is very doable online, but it will take some precise timing to do still. So, but this thing right here, I don't recommend that you do it online, just because this is like one frame window to, I think it's a one frame window to connect them to the overhead or the low. So don't use this thing online. As you can see here, like I'm failing a lot of times just to get the hang of it, just to get it right, just because the window is so tight. So always use them after the 1-1, like this. This is very durable. It still requires you some timing, but the other one is just like, it's like one frame or something I think. And with the latency online, it's quite hard to get. So don't use the 2-4 string. Always use the 1-1 to punish. Please remember that's only for punishing, but you can still use the 2-4 string if your opponent is blocking to open them up, like 2-4 into overhead Ferra, 2-4 into low. But like if you want to punish somebody, I recommend that you do this instead. This type of combo right here. This is what I recommend that you do online to punish. Now let's talk about zoning. Kitana have some great zoning tools herself, like the fan and the other mid projectile, but with Ferra she becomes a monster at zoning because now you have a full screen overhead and a full screen low. And if you happen to hit the low, of course you can get a full combo, full screen, which is absolutely crazy. You can get something like this. That was a full screen low, by the way. So now the opponent has to think about your full screen overhead and full screen low. And if you notice, people like to duck against Kitana's fans a lot, but not with this, not anymore. Because if you duck and you happen to hit your opponent with the low, now they eat a full combo. So she becomes so much more scarier at zoning with Ferra. I also just want to address this quickly right here. If you guys don't know what it does, if you hit the opponent, you get meter. If they hit you, you lose meter back. In my opinion, this is not worth using at all, just because Farah's other moves are so good that I just don't think this is worth it, in my opinion. Like, you're better off using the overhead or the low or the mid, or you're better off just zoning with Farah than using this and making it eat all your meter. Like, why would I use that over the overhead or the low? It just It's just not worth it in my opinion. Like, stick to the overhead or the low. Not to mention, Kitana doesn't really need a lot of meter when she does her combos, because you don't really use a lot of meter when you do Kitana's combos. Like, you're better off just sticking to the overhead or the low than using this move that doesn't really help your playstyle. Maybe it's better for other characters, but not for Kitana in my opinion. So let's talk about this move right here. It gives you a damage boost for a short time, and also it gives you armor. And you can do some cool stuff with it if you are expecting your opponent to wake up. So you can do something like this. As you can see, he lost almost all his life. So use it only if you expect your opponent to wake up. Also keep in mind it will take the whole cameo bar, so be careful when you use it. So let's get to your armor move. As you can see, Ferra can make your armor move do a full combo. If you do something like this. This is why it's so good to pair Ferra with Kitana, just because even your armor move will do a full combo. And yes, of course, your wake up will also do a full combo. Also, it can make it completely safe, which is crazy. So I swapped to Army Man, and like, look at me, I'm trying to hit Kitana, but I can't. It is completely safe if you do so. But also keep in mind, it will take the whole cameo bar. In my opinion, it's very worth it to be safe on your wake up, even if it takes your cameo bar. If they try to do anything, you get them for a full combo, which is absolutely crazy. Now I'm gonna leave you guys with some combos, and at the end, I have a game where I played online if you want to see how Kitana performs online with Ferra. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something from this guide. Until next one, guys. I hope you enjoy these combos.
Outworld's palace intrigue.
It's even worse than you've been told.
Round one, fight.
Last stand.
Round two, fight. Finish him. Kitana. Round one, fight. Round two, fight!
Incinerated.
Finish him!